All right, all right, all right, all right. Welcome everybody to the first edition of Knuckles Family and Friends presents. I think we're gonna go with we'll go with the Knuckles crib for right now. The Knuckles crib where I invite a couple of my friends for one-on-one interviews, but they want to turn it into conversations. I don't want to feel like they're getting what's that word I'm looking for? Getting interrogated. No, it's just to a nice conversation, nice journalism one-on-one interviews. Because what people don't know is I went to school for journalism, and I want to do interviews around the pop culture world. Here we finally are going to deal with my first guest. Now you've seen this guy before on majority of my Marvel recap, not just Marvel like superhero recaps, and I did a few of them before I started doing it with him. Pause, but with him I was more consistent with this thing, so I want to appreciate it. So I got my man Anthony, aka how do I pronounce it? King Anarc. I probably should have asked him before we started this interview right there, but I'm sure that I'm like saying this right. King Anarc.
Yep,
Uh,
Anarch.
I said it perfectly. I'm proud of myself right now. But yes, he has been on my show for multiple of occasions, which we have yet to do a Moon Knight discussion, which we will do that. This is the first one where it's like it's hard to get everyone together for this one. So like, but I've been watching Moon Knight lately.
I have been watching Moon Knight.
I like,
The last episode got me, but yeah,
yeah,
I've been into it.
okay, I've been liking it too. It's different, but so
Mhm.
that's just for a different day. And before we get to the interview, I know you are a big basketball guy. What you think on the playoffs so far with the Nets getting swept?
Ooh, that's a tough one, man. I mean, honestly, like I didn't really see the Nets going far this year, just because
Mhm,
they had a lot of stuff that they had to work out. But
mhm.
honestly, I kind of knew they were going to have a problem with Boston because Boston, I think, was always underrated. I think they wasn't really on people's radar, but that team just like down the line, like defensively, offensively with Tatum, and Jalen Brown, like I feel like they're gonna like make a lot of noise in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
I didn't really see them getting past them. I mean, the fact that they locked KD down the way they did shows a lot. So
Hmm. I thought I picked the Nets in seven, but I didn't see them getting swept. Like that was a surprise,
yeah.
a huge surprise.
I mean,
But
they got away from that first game. I think deflated.
oh, that first game, mm,
Mhm.
had they not won that first game, this could probably be a different series, honestly.
I mean, honestly, they did have a chance to win too. The first
Oh
game they
yeah,
should took care of business, and the last game, KD missing the free
yeah,
throw, and then them not calling a timeout. Yada yada yada. It was just bad game planning, and they just
yeah,
was kind of helter skelter. But I don't know. We'll see what happens next year. Ben Simmons coming back. Like if I mean, I'm kind of curious to see what happens. I mean, yeah, it is like kind of whatever with him now, but
it is
I'm
whatever with him.
curious. All this rest that he got. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Mental health. Okay, we'll see how that is. But anyway, so let's start this interview now. Now, what many of you don't know, I mean, I've been saying this for the longest time. If you guys pay attention to my podcast, that Anthony is an artist. But before we get into your six ways, artistic views, I want to start off my podcast with how we met, how we interacted, how we got to this day, and from how we met is that you're dating my friend, currently still correction, engaged to my friend Nicole, and I always did hear about Anthony for the longest time. This guy does security, he's been around Nicole for a long time. I'm like, okay, seems like a cool guy. So then we met when I set up that dinner at what's that place called again?
Bahama Breeze.
Bahama Breeze. Yeah, when we had that big dinner, which was a lot of fun, and that's how we clicked. And I'm like, oh snap, you like superhero? You're a nerd just like me, and you're an artist too. So like, we just clicked right there. Here we are, probably one of my good friends and one of my partners on this podcast journey. So, like I said, so we got to thank Nicole for that.
Yo, for sure. Definitely got to thank Nicole for that. Linking it up. I mean, honestly, like and I remember she used to talk about you and be like, "Hey, like, have you ever met RL at Havana?" Like, and I used to be like, "Nah, I don't think I have," but you know what
Yeah.
I mean. But sometimes things just happen that way. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
you just like naturally just click or bond with somebody over conversation. Like you said, we have you know similarities with the anime and superhero kind of stuff. So
Mm.
naturally, that was just going to click.
Yeah, we're both nerds, so that's like I said. When you see each other, when you sense the nerd energy, you're like, "Yo, you're a nerd. Oh yeah, I'm a nerd too. All right, we're gonna be the best of friends right there."
I used to always see that too because like I used to play ball. Like I played ball all my life. Like so it was like
Mm,
the idea of being like a jock, but then at the same time, like I was always into like all the other things. And I never used to like consider it like being like nerdy, like you know what I mean? Like sometimes
mm.
people make that you're a nerd like a negative thing. And I used to be like,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with being like a nerd. Like if you know your stuff, like they call smart people nerds, or they call like people that are into like cartoons and action heroes and stuff like that nerds. And it's like, so what? Like that's
Mm,
me, you know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of people that's out here tough and
mm.
that are nerds too, but won't admit it.
That is true. That is very, very true. So, I'm like I said, but back in the day, when you say you're a nerd, you get made fun. Nowadays, it's like it's cool. It's a trend, almost like a fake trend. But that's a different story for a different day. We can get all into that. So, anyways, let's get down with this interview. Like I said, so we just introduced how we clicked, how we became friends to this day. So let's go with Anthony's bio. So like I said, we all know you're an artist, but talk to me how that started, what got you into drawing, did you go to school for it, yada yada. So tell me like, your origin story in a way.
Man, yeah, we'd be on this podcast for a whole hour if I go over my whole origin story of how I got
Uh,
started. But I mean, honestly, this all started when I was like younger. One of the people that that was my biggest influences, I would say, is probably my father. I just always remember to this day, he used to always sit me down, in the living room, and like he would draw like these like little fake little superheroes on a piece of paper. And like back then, like they used to be like the illest. I used to be like, wow, like these are super cool. Like, and just the fact that he created these characters from like a piece of paper or on a piece of paper, kind of launched me like starting to like draw and like started getting into like illustration. And I used to be a big Disney head. Like I ain't gonna lie, like I'm still a big Disney fan, but at the same
Who
time, like
isn't?
you know what I mean? Like animation, all that stuff. Like back when I was a kid, like I used to think it was just incredible. Like I still do, like even with like the newer animation. But
Like
um
Pixar or just like the other anime type of style ones?
nah, like the original animation, like
Oh, original.
Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, like Lion King
Mm,
was always my favorite. Like but then even when they was making like movies like Hercules, like back in the day, like Disney Channel, they used to have
mm.
like these segments where they would show how they made like the cartoons or made the
I
movies.
remember those, yeah.
Right? Like, and so I used to like watch those and be just amazed by like all these like different animators just in a room, like making these like sheets of paper with all these characters. So I mean, like, so that kind of like boosted me and like really honing in and like loving art. It was just something about it, as far as taking something of nothing and creating something of beauty. So I mean, and then I started getting into like art, like a lot of my art classes, like used to be my favorite subject in school. Like, people would be like gym obviously was my favorite too, because I
Mm,
love sports. But man, as soon as I saw like art class or that day was, I have art class, like I was happy, you know what I mean? Like, I was always um I ain't gonna say the best drawer, but like everybody knew like I could draw. Like everybody,
mm,
even my teachers like, wow, like, you're really talented, and sometimes I used to have like extra, help like from some teachers after school, like, you could do a lot with
mm,
this and and they used to teach me some of the basics. So, I kind of gotta give a big shout out to my elementary school teacher, Mrs. Akey,
mm,
because she really like saw potential in me and like used to like sit with me like after school and things like that and just be like, hey, if you really want to learn how to do art, I could teach you, like like you got a lot of talent. So I really like, now that I'm like thinking about and talking about it, like it was kind of cool, like teachers like that not a lot of teachers today are like that, where
oh yeah.
they see potential in a kid and
Mm,
spend that extra time with them. Like it's kind of like they go to work and go home. But so yeah, man, it's just like, so I went from there to like I said, growing up, just like doing like sketchbook stuff and playing around, and I actually went to Rutgers, actually to play
Oh, you went to
ball.
Rutgers.
Yeah, yeah, I went to Rutgers, but I went to Rutgers North. So
Okay. Yeah, but they have a couple different campuses.
yeah, yeah, I went to Rutgers North. I went up there to play ball, but they ain't really kind of work out. And they only kind of like art uh, kind of thing they had was graphic design. So
Okay. Yeah, that's oh, so it then again there is art and there is graphic design, which I always thought they were like under the same category in a way.
yeah, so it's weird. So I thought like every college had like an animation class, like, or you can major in animation. You know what I mean? Like, but I wasn't like in the realization that like, oh, you just go to a school for animation, or you know what I mean, like Full Sails, or schools of the arts, California, that school in California where a lot of like Disney animators go. But anyway, but I was originally going to Rutgers because I really wanted to play ball though.
Mm,
So I ended up going there, and I was like, all right, at least they'll have like some in the art realm. And it was like graphic design is, a better subject to have too, like as far as honestly making money, doing art after you get out of school. Because when it comes to fine art or animation, it's a really tough area, to be in. So I started doing graphic design, and I had no idea what graphic design was. So
Wait,
I was
that
coming in fresh.
sorry to cut you off. So when you went to school, was basketball your number one thing? Like, did you think about doing graphic design, or was it something that you just said, "Hey, if you want to make money, you want to do graphic design"? So like, was it in the plan? Or was it just straight up basketball?
Honestly, like, so I always had the mentality that like if I was gonna go to school, like, I'll play ball, and like I love playing ball. I love basketball. Was always my passion. But I never saw like a long term, like, oh, I'm gonna go to the NBA, or I'm gonna
Mm,
play overseas doing this. Like, you know what I mean? I almost use it as a avenue to get into school kind of thing to,
yeah,
obviously stay in shape, do something recreational and have fun with it. I was always competitive. Don't get me wrong. Like, I was
yeah.
nice with it, but
You were that dude. You were that dude.
oh yeah, yeah. So honestly, like, so when they say Anarch Designs and like King of Anarch, so like my name is like Shakes.
Mm.
So
That's your last name, right?
nah, Hunter is my last name.
Because I always seen shakes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I always wondering where shakes came from.
yeah, Shakes. That was a basketball name when I was like young. So that kind of grew with me. Like, people didn't even know my real name when I was in like school, like high school, elementary school. Everybody called me Shakes. So every time like people see me, and they're like if there was like an announcement or something like that, and say like Anthony Hunter come down, and I'll stand up, like people be like, yo, that's your name, bro? Like, I thought your name was Shakes. So and so that was always like a funny joke. But yeah, man. So like being like my name being like Shakes or whatnot, like, that's kind of like I want to use that as far as like with Anarch Designs, like, so
Mm,
I'm kind of bringing it back as
mhm,
far as like, my actual artist name in
mm.
a sense.
Yeah. Now back to your elementary school. When you said your R2 said that you saw the talent in you, do you know what you drew that caught your teacher's attention? Like, what was the thing where it's like, wow, this I can actually
Hmm.
be something with this right here. I mean, I know it's a lot. That's a while to look
Yeah,
back to.
yeah, no, honestly, like, I think self portraits, because back then, like, with art classes, like, they would teach you like the basic stuff, like, doing self portraits, or drawing like little tiny things, like pieces of fruit or something like that. And I don't know, I used to have like a cartooning class. That class was like my favorite class. That class was the it class right there. Like, I mean, like, we used to draw like comic strips. We used to make like claymations, like, you know what I mean, like everything. So I would say like in elementary school though, I would say probably like self portrait. I think like my self portrait was just like, yo, like,
Mm,
you like know exactly like where to put the eyes, like the nose, like everything is like is you. You know what I mean? Like, and it was obviously far past like everybody else, because you know. You gotta
And
have
do
like an
you
interest in art. Like if you know, I mean, you ain't just gonna wake up and just know how to draw. Like they obviously saw that. Oh, this
mm,
kid like actually drew. Like
mm. And do you know what grade you were in? I know you said elementary school, so it had to be like second, third, fourth, fifth.
um, probably like third grade,
Oh damn,
fourth
it's
grade.
that early. Because trust me, at third grade, I had no artistic skills. I'm just like, I can't draw this. What do you expect me to do with this stuff right now? I can't do anything. I was such a
Yeah,
negative. Like every time I color anything, I'd be scribble scrabble. Like I can't do art for ish, man. So like at the development at that age right there, like that's talent right there. Like you can't
yeah.
just like I said, you can't. Sometimes you can't just well, you can teach that, but like the passion for it, like you can't teach.
Mm-mm. I mean, it's like yeah, it's like one of those things like you have it or you don't, right? It's
Hmm.
like there's certain things like that you get taught or somebody shows you, like how you always when they say bringing up a child, like you show them like a bunch of different things, and there's certain things that is just gonna click with them, right?
Hmm.
And I think like my father probably not even knowing it, God rest his soul, like at the end of the day, like him just sitting down, just like trying to like do a sketch with his son, you know what I mean? Just all of a sudden, like lit a switch like in my head, like, wow, like this is incredible to me. Like,
Hmm.
it wasn't just like a you do it and that's it. It was like, I want to do that. I want to know how you did that. You know what I'm saying? And, it just kind of like built from there.
Okay.
But continue on like what I was saying, like with college,
Yeah, yeah, I'll show you back on that. Yeah.
I had no idea what, graphic design was. Like a lot of the people in my class, like obviously took graphic design, classes in high school. So they knew like the basics or the fundamentals of like doing graphic work. And I was like, I don't know how to do any of this. So it was kind of like fish out of water kind of situation. Like everybody's portfolios were like these clean, logo designs and business designs and stuff like that. And like I was like, my portfolio was just all this like these sketches that I did of like, I don't know, I did this one like I did like Chris Brown or something like that, or you know what I mean? And
One of your favorite R&B, one of your favorite R&B artists. I know you're a Chris Brown fan.
the greatest R&B artist there is right now, bro. And nobody could debate me on this right now.
In this generation,
In this generation, bro.
you're talking about talent
He's
wise.
like he's this generation's Michael Jackson. But I feel like
Mom,
I feel
mom,
like huh? Go
mom,
ahead.
if you're hearing this right now, like you'll love Anthony right now because my mom is a Chris Brown fan. I like
Yeah.
Chris Brown too. I well, I don't want to upset you, but I'll keep that quiet. But no, I like Chris Brown.
Yeah.
I'll keep the other things quiet. But that's a debatable. Yes, that Chris Brown is this Michael Jackson generation.
I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like Michael Jackson obviously was something unreal.
Like
Like
I said, that's why I say this generation, and
yeah, this
that's like
generation
you
though.
quickly correct yourself right there.
Yeah, when I talk about this generation, and I don't want to go too far off the subject. When I
Yeah.
say this generation, like as far as like his versatility, like the way he can, music, dance, like rap, everything. Like and then like anytime he's on a track, the song is like a hit, like in a sense. Like that consistency to me is kind of like that's untouchable. Like, just like Mike. But to end that off, I always think when they talk about these versus battle, I think the best versus battle that we could see right now would be Chris Brown versus Usher.
That's the
And I'm
only
gonna,
person I can see with the catalog right there. That's the
that's
only
the
person I
only
see Usher and Chris Brown. That's the only first spot I can see with them.
all I'm saying is that, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Then nobody's really talking about it, but that right there, I feel like everybody tuning in because the catalog for both of them can dance, would be crazy.
Mm.
But so other than that, so going back.
You said
So
you
yeah,
had like your
so it was like an
sketches.
illustration of like Chris Brown. Like I had like one of like I think it was like some Disney characters or something like that. But I
Oh, wait,
remember
wait, Anthony. I'm sorry to cut you off right there. At the time, were y'all using Adobe? Like, were you hand drawn? Because I don't know. Around that time, people were doing the whole digital art thing right there, drawn through the computer. Like, where
mhm,
was it still just hand drawn stuff at the time? Because
yeah.
now we're like in a different generation of art now.
it was all hand drawn, bro. It was all, pencil, color pencil, magic marker. Like I used to have this thing with like sketching and then outlining and magic and permanent marker and then coloring it in with like color pencil kind of thing. So that was like my thing back then. And like it's interesting like when you look back on like certain things you did back then, you're like, yo, like what was that? But at the same time, like it was dope in that moment. Like it was dope in that time, like of evolution. But yeah, man. But so I had like that. But I remember Professor DeStoffel. Out of everybody, like all the professors that come look at my portfolio, he kind of really honed in. Was like, wow, like there's some potential in this. Like, you know, it's different. It's not like the traditional graphic design, right? And it's like
Mm,
usually like people that illustrate or animators, not animators, but people that do illustration,
mm,
do really well with graphic design, like because they're not constricted to just, using the computer and, making sure things are lined up a certain way or a certain, things are have a certain opacity and all that kind of, but that structured way of, graphic design, you kind of could think more so outside the box and like
mhm,
certain shapes or images that like you can't do just on a computer. The person that can illustrate it out first, got kind of like a leg up. And I still believe in that, you know what I mean? Like, and even if this is, years from now, like where they look back on this interview and be like, yo, what he mean illustrators are better. Yeah, I've said it. Illustrators are better when it
mhm.
comes to like doing graphic design, honestly. And just because like you have like, a whole lot in your arsenal.
You say you're more that makes you more versatile.
And yeah, more versatile. Like so it's just kind of like you said, you're not constricted. Like, you know what I mean? You can do a lot more than just, put your hands tied behind your back, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
but yeah, so I ended up getting into the program and from there like learning like the basics. And I'm not gonna say, obviously I was like the best, graphic designer. Like I had my own vision. There's definitely people that obviously like outshine me, like
Mm.
and I was like a different realm because I was used to being like the best at illustrating and like in my class like art wise, teachers like kind of like taking them under their wing kind of thing. And in college, like it wasn't like that. Honestly, like I was cool with like my professors. Like shout out to Professor Ned Drew. Like Professor Ned Drew was like the dopest professor at Rutgers North. And
You know
there
what's funny? You went to Rutgers. I went to Rider. So every time when I said the art, they're like Rutgers, but no, I went to Rider. So your school definitely outshines my school.
well, I
Which
mean,
Rider is still a dope school, but it's not as big as Rutgers.
yeah, it's D1, but it's not D1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with D2.
Yeah, yeah. Are you D2 now? I thought Ryder was
Rider,
D1 at one point.
I think it was at one point, but it's D2 unless something changed.
Mm. Oh. Well, I mean, big shout out to Ryder too, because I used to play ball at the Ryder summer camps and I used to kill it.
Mm.
So I got a lot of love for Ryder, basketball and Ryder as a college too. So
It's interesting that you said that when playing basketball, you knew it wasn't a long term goal because I think when a lot of people play sports nowadays, they wanted to be their long term goal, but like you knew instantly that you wanted to be doing graphic design, being an artist. So like I'm pretty sure it wasn't like, oh man, I'm not doing basketball. I'm sure it wasn't a hard transition over.
no, not really. I mean, I kind of always had that in my mind. I think things just happen like too in college where it's just a lot of dedication when it comes to sports. When you play college sports, like,
You ain't lying.
yeah, like, 2 a days, 3 a days, and then the amount of time, like, you spend in, like, when you go travel for, games and things of that nature. Um, you know what I mean? It just seemed like it
Yep.
just put things in perspective. Now, honestly, like, and I'll keep it 100 with you, like,
Talk to me.
I had gone into a relationship before I went to college. And, obviously this is way before Nicole, but
Mm.
um I got into a relationship, and obviously when you get a relationship, you know what I mean, your priorities sometimes aren't in order, right? So, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't like, going 1000%, that summer, like working out and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
honestly, like I was recruited there, but I ain't even get to play. Like they, what I
Mm.
mean? I ain't even make the team.
Oh
To keep
wow.
it honest with you. So, and it was like a shocker to a lot of people that was playing because even though like, I was slightly out of shape, like I still was nice. Like I still like
Yeah.
could have got back in shape. But I think that it was like one of those things where like to kind of teach me a lesson or the coach trying to like say like, hey, like even though like I recruit you, like you didn't show your full potential and I chose this person over you kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like and I respect it, like, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. And I played on like his like intramural like team and like a lot of like the OGs that used to play at Rutgers, like I was on that team and we won the championship. Like,
Okay.
I still had game. Like I still, what I mean, once I got back into shape, like I was with it. But when it came time like to try it again, like people's like, yo, you coming back out for 10. And I'm like, nah, like I kind of just like, nah, he kind of gave me that reign of like that time away that I was like, you know what, I want to focus on something that like I'm passionate about, like which was
Mhm.
art, graphic design, and being, what I mean, a college student, like, what I mean, where I got to meet a lot of people, like, a lot of lifelong friends now that probably would have been different if I played sports in college. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and in the graphic design like world, like, met a lot of amazing people like that to this day, that were big influences honestly with me. And we used to take trips to New York City and a lot of inspiration, you know what I mean? Like, just doing a lot of, things exploring and like, really diving into like the world of like, honestly, like graffiti art, like going to galleries, like, museums and, just getting those kind of energies like help me figure out that like, yo, this is what I want to do. Like,
Now, at that time in college, did you find your type of style of art? Because every artist has different styles at the with their drawings. Did you find like your type of style at the time? Were you still learning like what your I don't want to say lameness, but what like your your like I said your style, I guess, and I'm repeating again, but like your style, like your unique type of your version, I think you know
my,
where I'm coming
anarch,
from with
my
that.
the anarch style that you see
Yeah,
on
yeah, actually, yeah,
like up here.
yes.
So
Or guys, I
yeah,
wanted to
let's
say this
show
at
it.
the end.
Let's
I've
show it.
or this stuff right here.
Yeah,
Granted,
let's show it.
I was gonna
You're gonna
buy a
turn the
framework.
Iverson upside down.
Yeah, I know. I was I was gonna buy the frame. God dang it! I was gonna buy the framework the weekend, but due to COVID, I gotta be isolated right now, so I can't be around
Mm.
people. But we have some Iverson and LeBron. Now, I don't know if you are LeBron lovers out there, but if you're from Philly, you gotta. God dang, I'm gonna say that right now.
I see.
You gotta know. Like when I bought this stuff from here, I know we're jumping ahead, but when I saw this at the show, I'm like, those are the two that I wanted. Those are the
Yeah,
two that I wanted the most. So I'm happy you had that. Happy you had that. But
yeah.
like I said before, when did like the Anarch style develop?
So that's a really good question because I think the anarch style didn't start until like a couple years after I graduated college. Like,
Ooh. So
yeah, when I was,
would you say I'm not going? We said you were still trying to find your way at the
oh yeah,
time.
oh yeah.
So was
Like I
this
said,
like
when I was in
uh,
college, like I had no idea what graphic design was really. So I was still searching and trying to find out who I was as far as like a graphic designer because if anybody knows, like with art, just like with music and anything that's dealing with in that realm, you got to be authentic. You know what I mean? Like you got to stand out, and in order for people to notice you, right? So I always had that thought in my head, like I wanted to learn good graphic design and learn how to do it style wise, but at the same time, like I didn't want to get stuck in just that pocket. Like I wanted to like branch off and just say, hey, this is my certain style. Now, the anarch style that you see now, that's not. that's not necessarily graphic design at all. Like honestly, like
Mm,
a lot of the clean lines, or like some of the, you could see some of the um kind of elements in it that show like, oh, there's graphic design. Like, even I'm like pointing over there. Like, so if
mm,
you even like up here, like, the top part as far as where it says king, those kind of lines and crisp lines to kind of balance out the design, to kind of make your eye kind of do like a full circle. That's kind of graphic design, in a sense. And um I think I just found like my niche. Like I ended up teaming up with two of like my lifelong friends now, Marcus and Phil De Silva.
mm.
Um, Phil De Silva, he's a tattoo artist in California now. Big shout out to you,
And in
bro.
California, so he used to live in New Jersey.
He used to live in Norton, New Jersey. Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
But he ended up becoming a tattoo artist. He was in graphic design too. He
mm,
became a tattoo artist, and now he's in San Diego. But we had a team. We used to be called Fresh and Crisp. And my boy Marcus, he invented the brand, and kind of brought me and Phil along, as far as like joining his team, as far as like trying to launch, this FNC, lifestyle. And honestly, like, some of the best times of my life, like, you know what I mean? Like the adventures, like the things that we did. Like it was a clothing brand, it was a t-shirt brand.
yep,
But and style wise, like, we were just trying to do something different, something outside the
mm,
box. And but it ended up, obviously it just didn't work out that way, you know what I mean? And everybody like kind of started doing like their own thing. And like I said, Phil's in California now, and I just kind of, in a sense, like was like, there's something else, like, that I wanted to do. Or one night, I don't even think it was one night, but like I just always had like this like symbol, like, you know what I
mm,
mean, that I used to just think about, or like, in a sense, I used to dream about. And it was a circle, with these two like points at the bottom. And like I never understood why like I would have these like, it was, yeah, you know what I mean? It's loud, but like, yo, I literally used to have this like image in my dreams sometimes. And so my Anarc design logo that you see at the top of, the Iverson poster,
yeah,
that's when I came out with that logo. I was like, oh, like, like an
that's your
anarch.
symbol right there.
Yeah, so that's like the symbol that I thought of. And then honestly, I just started thinking of like the style that I have now, like starting with this center point, using like a kind of like a protractor, in a sense, like this focal point of like, what's in the center, like what's in the heart of it, right? And kind of building around like what's in the heart of it,
Mm,
so. And I just like, honestly, like I would just envision like things like whenever I used to see it, or I'll get inspiration from like a TV show, or, music, or, anything, sports.
mm,
Um, and literally like, and it's just kind of built from that, where honestly it started off with like I made like animals, like I had like a tiger,
mm.
like a lion or something like that, like way back when. And I started off there. And
Was that
honestly,
one of the first that you have for Anarch? So I know we said we had to tell us, but what was like the first? And I'm sorry if I'm like cutting you off right there, changing it up. Like, what was like the first work they said like, "Yeah, this is Anarch right here. Like, this is where." Like, what's the one that got, I guess, called the biggest buzz? You would say that kind of started, people following you.
I think it was the one that I'm talking about. It was a tiger. I made this tiger, and I made this elephant, and I used to call it was like Elephant City.
Is
And
that still on your Instagram?
I don't think it's still on my Instagram. A lot of my older stuff, like I took off. Um, but I'll tell you what, like, like I said, with evolution and evolving, as far as like when you practice something long enough, like you notice like at the beginning how it was and how it is now. Um, that honestly, but that is where it started. And a lot of people's like, oh, like this is different, like that's cool. Like, and honestly, like um I think the idea came from like, I grew up in the church. So, and my father was a minister. And a lot of the elements and things that I use, like that circle and like the things around it, Um, it's almost like, in a sense, like a stained glass,
Mm,
like in a church. And like when I started like designing it, I started thinking like, wow, like where did I kind of get this from? And like I started thinking like, honestly, like if you look at it, it's kind of almost like a stained glass. Like, and in our church, we used to have this big circle behind the pulpit, and it had like Jesus Christ in it, right? And
mhm,
like around it had like, symbols of, like the body of Christ, and like, the lamb, and, the cross and things like
mhm.
that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think like it branched from that, honestly. And just using that kind of element, like I just started kind of like making like these different types of forms. And it just kind of like started picking up, and people started noticing it. And I was like kind of, in a sense, that I was like, this is me. Like this is exactly what like I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and any Anarch design that you see is not like anything else. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
That you'll see as far as art wise in the art realm. Like people are like, oh, this is kind of similar, but it's not
See,
my.
I'm glad you brought it up because that people that don't know art, that's why I said, "What's your style?" Because people say they see the style, but I don't think they really know the style. Like your eyes say one thing, but to the artist, it means completely different. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's interesting because like, yeah, it's kind of teach you really like how to look at art, right?
Mm,
And sometimes it's like people look at art and be like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Like, talk to
mm,
me. And honestly, art is supposed to be, to your interpretation. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you look at a piece of artwork, like if it talks to you, it talks to you, right? Like if you see certain elements in it, you see elements that like you're like, wow, I see this, or I see that. And and that's like with mine, like, I make it very ambiguous to a point where I put like these representations inside of it that like even people to this day that like bought my artwork, or seen it, they're like, oh wow, like I didn't even see that in the art. And then like people start picking out certain things
mm,
or symbolisms of, like I said, like what's in the center, like, or even if it's just like a theme, you know what I mean? Like they start like looking around. And that's what I like to do. I like to, even though like it's a center point,
mhm,
it still makes your eyes like look around as far as like looking at what else is in it, kind
mhm.
of.
Yeah, like I said from like I said before, one of my favorites was the LeBron and Iverson. So how did you like I said, just for me, this is just my own personal question. How did you do the whole LeBron and the Iverson? Because those are one of my two favorite players. I mean, LeBron because he had LeBron James, and Iverson because me being a Sixers fan, I love all Philadelphia, and Iverson was that guy in
Well,
Philly. So like, were these like long term plans, or they just just immediately thought came in your head like I'm gonna draw him like right away?
honestly, I have been thinking about making a LeBron James piece for a long time because I'm a huge LeBron James fan. But it's one of those things where, like, if you're gonna do like, somebody like LeBron James, like you got to do it right. And
Hmm.
like, and I just never had like that thing that I was just like, I'm gonna make this LeBron James piece for this. And then when he announced that he was doing Space Jam, like I was like, okay, this is crazy. Like, all right, then I need to get on this. And like a lot of people were hitting me up like on IG, like, hey man, like Space Jam got like this like competition for artwork, like, to submit your
Really?
artwork for the movie. Yeah, it was like before the trailers came out and stuff, like, just to get like kind of
Oh.
the, publicity going. Like they were like, yeah, like, and you like kind of entered like this contest and submitted like your work. So I came up with like two pieces. So I don't know if you saw the other piece that I did,
Well,
but
one with him and his son.
yeah,
I actually was kind of we can actually I can share that with the screen right there.
yeah.
Actually,
And so that one's like a blend of both. So I put like the two of them, like two of the worlds. And like, you had like, Toon Squad, and then you also had
let's look that up right here. That's one on the right here.
yes, sir.
Hmm. And then
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
and then
so
they
as you
sold
can
the
see,
other
like, you
one.
got the blend of both, you know what I mean? And then inside so I made 2 versions of it, so I think, like, you only had to submit 1, but I was like, "Man, Imma go all in, if I'm gonna do Space Jam." So, as you can
I
see,
had to
like,
do it
I
right.
yeah, so as you can see, I put, like, a lot of, like, the colors from the movie, obviously, like, the old school characters, and, so, yeah, that kinda boosted me to say, "Alright, Imma do a LeBron James piece." And, with Iverson, honestly, like, man, I could talk about Iverson for a minute, right?
We
Like,
all can.
because honestly, like, I just think that Imma just be flat out with it, like, I think he's almost a very disrespected, like, great player, like, that kinda didn't deserve to be as disrespected and just kinda shunned the way that he did,
Without question, without question. With that,
you know
we can go all day about that too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why
So
when it comes to Stephen A. Smith, Stephen A. Smith will have Iverson's back all day.
oh, yeah.
He will
I
have
mean, for
Iverson's
good
back all day.
for good right, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, there's things that I just really had to do an Iverson piece, like, even with this year, and, like, the recent Sixers teams, like, Joel Embiid, like, he's amazing player, like, you got Maxey and got, some of the players that's on the Sixers now, but there hasn't been an Allen Iverson, you know, ever, like,
Yeah,
since Allen Iverson, like,
no.
there hasn't been a player that when you went to see the Sixers play, that you're like, "Yo, this player is just nasty." Like, that had the influence that Allen Iverson had. Allen Iverson influenced and inspired every kid, like, growing up, like, as far as, like, the killer crossover, like, the way he
Yes.
played ball, the way,
The
like,
handling, like
the handler.
you see him in the 2001 All-Star game? That w
That's what I mean, though, like, Allen Iverson, like, I can all the people that had the arm sleeve, what I mean, playing basketball out on the court, like, it's like, bro, Iverson, but, like, at the end of the day, like, he was just that influential, like, that there's things that, like, they talked about him as far as not going to practice and all that garbage, but the man would show up at games and just give it
yeah.
1,000% every time.
He
You
was
know what I'm
he was our
saying?
best player on the team. That's why we couldn't
Yeah.
beat the Lakers. It was pretty much Iverson against the whole entire Lakers team.
It was nuts, man. That year that they went to the finals, yo, like, forever that step over Teron Lue, like, is crazy. Like, that 3-point shot. Like, I mean, so I needed a reason to make an Allen Iverson post, and I thought, like, now was like the time because I just think that Philly, like, really wants that type of person back. Like,
And it was the top I think it was the 75, like, they had her during their top 75 players too when we did it. So it was honestly the perfect time to do it.
yeah, top 75, but then, like, yeah, like, when you see Allen Iverson come out there, you just like, wow, like, finally, you know what I mean? He's getting his recognition, he's getting his
Mhm.
respect, all that he did do for the game of basketball and for the NBA. And now y'all can actually appreciate him, the person that did rock, cornrows and, keep it
The
real, like,
tattoos too. He was the I think he was the first one to do the whole tatted up thing for NBA players. She had a whole bunch of NBA players doing the same thing now.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like, you want to talk about one of the biggest influences, in the game of basketball. Allen Iverson was that dude.
Mhm.
So yeah, man, it was just like it was just a piece that had to be done. And obviously, I made a
Tremendous
home.
piece, by the way. Tremendous
y-
piece.
Yo, appreciate that, man. I'm
Mhm.
happy you got one because that's another thing I bring up too is people always be like, "Oh, like you do, have them in prints and things like that." And once those prints are gone, like that's it. Like
Mhm.
I don't print any more of that
I
version.
wanted to buy them for the longest time. I'm like, Anthony, do you sell these? Because I know it was a while ago. You're at a convention at New
Mm,
Jersey. You were selling. I'm like, when are you gonna sell them around here? Damn it! And then when you told me about your event, at first I didn't know if I was gonna be around because I was coming with a friend. But lucky that didn't happen. My then I gotta pull up to this and support my guy. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
people say they'll support their friends, but they don't do it sometimes. So they had to pull through for that.
yeah, bro. I mean, honestly, like I really appreciate you coming through, and right now it's like, yeah, I do a lot of like the pop-ups and, try to, sell them at different, events. And one of the events that I do now is like the Billion Bars Club in New Brunswick. Um, and I was at supporting like my bros over at Clockwork Supply Co. Big shout out to Jay and that whole crew, that put on that event. Um, it was amazing, man. Like the atmosphere was crazy. Like you were there.
Mhm.
Just a good vibe, man. I mean, and a lot of times with art, functions that I'm a part of, like it's just a good space. You know what I mean? A lot of good people. And yeah, like that's like the opportunity that like I try to do like exclusive, like one on one. Being able to see the artist, like getting my art, getting it out there,
Mhm.
and people getting the opportunity to like get one like from me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Not just, yeah, I just got it up on a website and like just buy
Mhm.
it there. Like, you know what I mean? Like I kind of more so like right now is just like more hands on. Like, you know, if you see my IG or you see like I post something like I'm gonna be somewhere,
Yep.
come on out, and you never know what piece I'll have there. And
Mhm.
like I said, once they're gone, that's it. Like I'm definitely in the realm of like exclusive prints, or exclusive designs that, like from years from now, where you look back on it, you be like, yeah, I have one of these, like, from this artist, and like that's it.
I have a more appreciative artist now as I like grew older because at first I'm like, art's really not my thing, blah, blah, yada yada. But when I started going to conventions, and when I saw this amazing work, I'm like, I gotta buy it. But then also, irks you when it's like I see a lot of this great piece. I see, I'm not saying, they didn't sell anything, but like you don't see it grasp a lot of attention. I'm like, how are they not getting this attention? It's very, very good. Now maybe it hits people differently, but like I just feel as though like artists don't get the credit that they deserve, especially when they put in the time and soul into making this stuff because making this stuff is not easy. Like I know it's gonna take like hours, days, weeks. Like it's not easy making this stuff.
Oh no, 1,000%. And that's like the wild part. And I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of times I think that people when they see artwork or they see go to somebody's table, like you were at Comic Con and you see artists and you see the work that they did there that you could just buy.
Mm,
But no one sees like the, behind the scenes, like where, those hours like at night or, day and night, those long hours, like as far as creating, putting that piece together and all the effort that gets put into it. Like it's one of those like the things where you look at it and you're like, if you look at a piece of art, if you can replicate it, all right, then maybe you can just pass it up. But if you look at what somebody's done and you say, I have no idea how they did that, how they started it, how they got to the finish, like you should appreciate like that. You know what I mean? And like, and honestly, like, and that's coming from like an actual brilliant artist that like all the time and effort that's put into that, like they deserve to kind of get acknowledged that like, wow, like,
mhm.
I give you respect for what you did because I have no idea how you did that.
Yeah, I respect them all. Like I respect art. I'm glad I actually got out of that mindset where it's like I don't care about art, but no, I do appreciate because as you see, I buy a lot of stuff, and I still have stuff in cases that I'm like, so I have yet to place them out yet. So trust me,
Yeah,
I value the art pieces.
yeah, man.
Now, I also want to go back a little bit. Was there a time where you said to yourself, "Man, I don't know if this art stuff's gonna be it for me"? Were there like any tough times where you were like, I don't think I can do this right now because I appreciate everyone had their moments where like I don't think it's it for me right now. Like I try, but I don't think it's working for me.
Never. I'll say that.
Really?
Never. So I'm not gonna say in the sense of like it's not gonna work out for me. Like, of course, there's good days and bad days. You know what I mean? There's
Mhm,
you go to an event and like sell, and then sometimes you go there and like not sell as much.
mhm,
But the idea of saying that it's not gonna work, I don't think I have that kind of mentality or thought process because I feel as though like if you're passionate about something, if you love what you do and believe in yourself, like there's no kind of like doubting that like it'll work. You know what I'm saying? Like I just think that like, I haven't tapped into everybody. Like I haven't been to, California and sold at an event. I haven't been to Texas. I haven't been to, certain places in New York. You know what I mean? Like I haven't been. Think about all the states and all these places that like I generally could be or promote it and that have not seen like my art or know about my art that could possibly love my art. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't think it's an idea that like I want to give up on it.
Mm,
Because I have seen because I also do custom work too. So, sometimes people will see the posters and things I do and then say, hey, like, could you make, a piece for me, like a custom piece, or could you make like an album cover for me? And I've
nice.
worked with like a lot of different artists and, quite a few like clients that want something unique and want something that's just theirs. So, and that's why like I get to the realm where I'm like, I don't see this being like something that I'll stop because I think for what I do in its uniqueness that like I think that if somebody feels though that hey, I want that style for me, this day or for this event or for this person, like I'm there for that. So yeah, I mean, like I said, like it's always tough, like especially when you're trying to be an entrepreneur, if you're trying to be an artist, like they don't call us starving artists for no reason. Like
Yeah.
you kind of gotta have like that backup or that safety blanket in a sense on those bad days. But yeah, man, I love this so much, man, that I would never trade it in for anything. And like I would never like give up on, my vision or, getting my artwork into everybody's household at some
Mhm,
point in time.
mm.
And I always encourage anybody else too. Like, and that's the one thing that's about me that like I'm always going to encourage anybody that wants to do their own thing or anybody that has their own particular passion that they want to do. Like, don't ever like give up on it. Stick with it, like because it's yours. Like it's something that like you have ownership over, right? Like you don't. Nobody's a boss of you as far as like this podcast. Nobody's a boss of you, and you doing your podcast.
Speak
Like
on it.
so I just like I'm just 1,000% on that. Like and that's why it's how I feel about myself. Like I'll continue to do this until I don't have breath in my body. Like
We go in the Damon Dash route. Be your own boss right there.
yeah, man, and that's the idea, like and especially in today's world, like everybody has like the potentials of just being their own boss. So and I think a lot of people are tapping into that. And like some people continue with it and just stay focused and don't give up. And some people be like, all right, it's not really working out. Like, let me find something else. But
Mm. Now, would you say that now, Grant, well, I think we talked about this earlier how, when it was hand drawn digital art. So have you been doing more digital art now? Have you still been doing hand drawn? Is it all just digital art now? Because now artists I see it's just all like digital. Like I don't know
mm,
how they're doing it, but like I don't see any hand drawn unless at conventions somebody asks, "Hey, can you make this for me?" They'll hand draw, but like all these artists that I see, it's just all digital and like it's all done through the computer now. Is that you think that's like good or a bad thing in today's? I mean, Grant, I mean, it's got to be beneficial for them doing it through the computer, or do you still appreciate the hand drawn stuff more to this day?
yeah, man, it's the new world. You know what I'm saying? Like digital art, iPad, Procreate, those kind of things. Like, those are like the new wave of like, I mean, it's not in the sense of it's just a technology evolving, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
I don't have to be on a pencil and paper anymore. Like I don't have to go buy a sketchbook, from Michael's or somewhere. I can have just my iPad or my Mac computer or something like that, and just do it right on my computer, and I can have as many blank sheets as I want, and I can just do whatever I want on this, and I can erase it, with a click of a button instead of having to use an eraser and erase it down. Now, me, I'm kind of old school. Like I love, pencil to paper and that old style of like drawing. So like I
Yeah.
still yeah, so I still do that. And then I convert it into a vector on my, Mac computer, just kind of like cleaning stuff, certain things up, adding the colors, like, to get that vibrant, like kind of colors in it. But I did start getting into like the digital world though, as far as like, using like an iPad, to make illustration work. Like,
You gotta do Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe. What's the
oh, I
other
got
one?
all of it. Yeah.
Oh man.
Illustrator is
Uh,
my bread and butter. Illustrator
mm.
is my baby. Um, I don't really use Photoshop until I'm like making obviously like the posters,
Mhm.
but yeah, like, but Procreate, like I'm big on that, and I'm not scared to say that. Like, with my iPad, shout out to
Are
my
people
fiance
are people
that
afraid
bought
to
me
admit
for
that?
Christmas. Huh?
Are people afraid to admit that type of stuff? We,
Um, wait, what do you mean?
when you said I'm not afraid to admit, or do you not say that?
No, yeah, I'm not afraid to admit it. I don't know. Like some people may not want to say Procreate. Like, maybe some people might be like, oh, like that's not what I use, or some people
Hmm.
got their own niches. Just like people like I like Microsoft rather than the iPhone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like or
Hmm.
a Mac. But yeah, I mean, I use that, and actually recently I just came out with like a different. Um, I want to say. Um, I just came up with like a different like kind of niche as far as like I'm making like shoes. And it's called just
Shoot.
for
All right.
yeah, just for kicks. So I had like this idea of like making shoes like into like art. You know what I mean? Like because like everybody, especially sneakerheads, like you go to Foot Locker, you go to like different, Foot Action, whatever,
Jordans.
all of it, Jordans, all of that. Like that's like the wave right now. So I was like, man, all these people that's like super passionate about shoes. Like it'd be dope to like just have like, illustration on
Yeah.
shoes that people love. Like, you know what I mean? Or
Oh, that's a big move right there.
yeah, and like and I'm like coming out with different like little series. Like so right now, I got like the it's like the Kanye's like kind of thing, the Yeezys in a sense. But it's kind of like got like its own thing. Like if you want to pull up my IG, you can kind of see it. Um, but I kind of want to make it like, like the tricks, kind of like idea where it's like that old nostalgic, box of cereal kind of esque kind of thing. But then at the same
Hmm.
time, they're like fresh shoes, but in a sense, like you can collect, a piece of art that's like also like your favorite pair of shoes kind of thing. Like,
So is that like the next big thing that like you're working on right now?
yeah, it's like another project, that I'm kind of getting into, like where I'm kind of just trying to branch off, like, I like to stay in like the lane of like the Anarc design, but at the same time, like, I want to mix it up a little bit too. And another like venture I went into in my projects was my Jimmy, kind of collection. The Jimmy kind of brand as far as this character, man, is so loaded. We can have a whole podcast just based off of Jimmy. Just like the idea of
We'll have to do a part two then.
yeah, where he started from, like what he, came from, like, the idea of it, like, oh man, like Jimmy is like going to be everything to me, like forever. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of like I'm just trying to just do like a couple different things, just kind of like mixing it up a little bit.
No, I'm sure social media has definitely helped you with the following and help you get the word out there because nowadays, for artists back in the day, I mean, even I mean, granted, I know we're not too far apart from age, but like even at that time, social media wasn't to where it was now. 'Cause now it's like you get the word out there better and faster now because word of mouth is not dead. Like word of mouth is still very, very popular, so very useful in this generation. And I gotta
Mm,
thank social media for that tremendously.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, word of mouth is huge. I mean, and I think that's how I got to kind of where I'm at now. Like people knowing, that I do art or, the Anarc brand. Obviously I got to start somewhere. It's not
Mm.
like super big, but at the same time, like for the people that know about it, like know, like wow, like that really appreciate it. I kind of it kind of really branched off from this one event that I did. I actually linked up with an artist from Trenton, New Jersey, and
And you're from originally from Trent, or we know Trent, right?
yeah, like the Trenton area,
Mm-hmm.
Ewing. What I mean, I like to always rep, Ewing. I'm a Ewingite, but got a lot of love for the capital city of Trenton. And so yeah, man, I like did this project with a Trenton like artist. I'm gonna say music artist because he's not really a rapper or a singer. Like he's kind of like a blend of both.
Mm-hmm.
But he had like this big event for his album called Love Is Free, and he has like a really big following, and he just kind of was like, wow, like what you do, and I want you to do like my album cover. And so I did that,
Okay.
and I think it kind of stemmed from that. Honestly, like it became like really big, well, bigger as far as like people knowing the style and following it. But
Connections.
yeah, honestly, like it's the connections, and then like I said, the community. You know what I'm saying? Like you start to like meet people. You start to
Mm.
like they meet you. They see what you about, and like I said, I built like other relationships, and then I did like some artwork for them, and then I actually had like a actual show in Hopewell at a winery way back when, and that's kind of where this piece came from.
Okay, no,
Um,
good
yeah,
advertisement right there.
yeah. This one right here. So
Yeah, if
that
like I said, if
was
you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, it's showing it right there. If you listen to the audio version of this, I apologize.
yeah. I mean, it's that was like my first big kind of like event where it was at like this really big winery, and I made all these like custom like grapes. I made like white wine grapes, and I made like red wine grapes, and I like put like this kind of theme around it. So it was real fun, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like I said, like obviously like the pandemic like slowed down a lot of that kind of stuff as far as being
Yeah.
more like hands on and doing galleries or things of that nature. But like I said, I'm just trying to ramp it up now and get back into it more so. So I got even actually an event this Friday in New Brunswick at the Billion Bars Club event. Very nice, very dope kind of social gathering, as far as like up and coming music artists, and just like I said, like a good community of people just coming together, trying to do, what God put them on this earth to do.
No, man, I'm happy for you. I really am. Now, also, what's like maybe this might be an early question, a bit of an early question, because I know maybe you're still figuring things out. But like, what's like the legacy that you want to leave behind? Like, what's Anthony AKA Anarch? What do you want to be remembered for in a way?
I just want to be known for being authentic, creating, like these designs that, will live on, forever. I would definitely want to be known for somebody that, stood up for, honestly, like, love and, the community of people coming together through art too, because, I don't want it to be that I just cater towards, certain individuals. Like I want to do something that's, pretty ambiguous that everybody, like, well, if you collect it, will say like, hey, I got one of his pieces, and he was all about like togetherness kind of thing.
Mm. So not just not sticking to one audience, but like everybody right there.
Yeah, like right now, like my IG, like I'm starting to like get like a blend of like a lot, but at the same time, like I do want people to understand that like my art, just like kind of like I mean, it doesn't say it right now, but like, they say like music, with like Bob Marley, he used to, music is a thing of love and togetherness, and like people come together through music. But I also think that people come together through art too. Like, you know what I mean? Like all walks of life can look at my art and, appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like it's not like just catered towards one group. Like everybody can, come and have a discussion or have, see what do they see in the art or see in the piece of art. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, I love like when I'm at these events and like everybody, of different, races, colors, cultures, come up to my table and appreciate the same thing somebody else just appreciated of another culture or race or, ethnicity. It's like, I love that idea. And, like I said, I just want to leave my stamp on like something that was authentic to me that I, could give to the world that I feel as though like I was born to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a difference with being stuck behind, like a 9 to 5 and living a day to
Yeah.
day and making a living. But I always had the idea like I want to have something that people can look back on and be like, oh, like I got this from Anarc Designs or I got this from Anthony Shakes. He was a great artist and, have this forever kind of thing.
We definitely been on the right direction, man. So I'm very happy for you. I'm very proud of you. And you know me, I'll always be there if you need anything. Always sure to support because you gotta support your friends, man. Like
And I
my
appreciate
grand, you really do. Like I said, I'm not saying if you're not a friend, if you don't support them, but like if there's any way you can, like it can be the smallest thing, like they'll still appreciate it in the future. Because without your support, they're not gonna be to where they are right now. And I
exactly.
feel as
And,
though people
and
need
I
to do that.
appreciate you doing this podcast. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
because I know it's always Knuckles, friends, family and friends. And it's like,
The title
it's
means something to it means something.
exactly like, you stood on your logo. Like, it is what it says, family and friends. Like, and it's not, catered to just talking about anime or, movies or, hero, superhero movies and TV shows. It's like, yo, like, some people are doing different things. Like, this is a good space to come and, kind of branch off a little bit. So I do appreciate this
Yeah,
a
no,
thousand percent, brother.
no, I appreciate man. Like first of many, first of many. Now, before you go, I got one question because we're gonna get back on the nerd side of it.
All
I'm gonna ask this on every podcast right now.
right.
In the nerd world, right?
All right.
Is there a dream crossover? So, what's your dream crossover? So, anyone from a video game, comic, anime, if they were together, who would be your dream crossover event would be?
Dream crossover event. Well,
Oh,
so
okay, good correction. What would be your dream, your crossover team up? So, Batman with a Goku or something like that, or Batman with a class like anyone in the pop culture. Who would you love to see team up?
oh my god, that's crazy though.
I know, because you know me. I'm like I said, I'm back in my nerd shit right now. I'm a nerd guy, so I want your crossover team up right there.
Wow, dude. That's
Got him.
bro, that's like really loaded right there.
I know. I know. I'm a journalist, man. I gotta come with the tough questions.
You really do. Um, oh man. Oof.
Got him.
And it
Got
gotta
him.
be and it gotta be anime
No, it
or
could be like anime, superhero, a video game character. Hell, let's add like athletes in there too,
mm,
or any cartoon characters, anything.
I mean, honestly, like I'm really 1,000% in it right now. So I'll probably say Goku and Naruto.
Okay, good enough. I mean, we've seen that everywhere, but I do like it when they're together, though. Those are actually one of my two favorite anime characters.
Yeah, I'm thinking just like straight off the top, like what they're about. Obviously, like it's a little cliche.
It's all good, man.
I really want to dive more into this because like I got so many in my head right now that I'm like, there's one that I feel like would be a lot better. Um,
Come on, let's say it. Let's say it. Come on. I know you can think. I know you can think it. I know you can think it.
hmm,
Don't don't cheat on me. Don't do this to me. I know you can do it. I know you can do it.
I think a good crossover.
Yes.
Hmm.
Come on. I know it's right there.
You give me a blank right now, bro. I mean, I'm gonna say Harley Quinn.
All right.
Oh man.
We'll write this down. Harley.
And this crossover means like they like come together for something, right?
Yeah, they come together for something. Like we don't have to think of a reason, but just just seeing them team up.
This really got me stuck. Like,
See when I see this when I get my guests thinking, that's it's a good interview, right? It's a good question right there.
no, that's like no, but this is like bad because like I got like so many heroes and so many villains that like I love. Like, oh, and then you saying like a crossover as far as like this is like anything.
And like I said, I've narrowed. Like I said, it can be an anime character, a video game character, or I just add to spice somebody, or you can like pick one of your favorite athletes too. So we got Harley.
You know what? No, no, scratch out Harley.
All right.
I want to put Gayu from Demon Slayer,
Ooh.
and I was gonna say Inuyasha, but nah, I don't want that. I want to say
I,
Gayu from Demon Slayer,
I never really fucked with that anime, but to be honest with you,
Inuyasha.
I couldn't fuck with it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like one of my childhood things. Um, no, you know what? Scratch that. Who the main? No, no, the main character from Outlaw Star and Harley Quinn.
Oh, who was the main character Outlaws? Oh God.
Got the name, your bro. That was
Oh
my show
God.
back in the day.
Oh
That
my
was
God.
my show back in the day.
Outlaw.
Whoever that was, but Outlaw Star, I feel like they need to bring that back. Honestly, they
Oh
need
man,
Netflix.
that's a
Netflix
good.
need to bring that back. But Outlaw Star
Oh my God,
and Harley.
bro. God dang it. Who was the freaking character?
Yeah, I forget his name.
Holy shit. People are gonna kill us right now.
Yo, for sure. I know
People are
people
gonna
are like, they'll
kill
be like,
us.
how you not know who his
Oh
name?
shit. Um, Gene Starwin.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Gene Starwin and Harley
Gene
Quinn.
Star, mm, Starwin and Harley Quinn. Like God, yo, you went OC. I appreciate that you went old school
Yeah,
because
I had to think on it.
people just don't be wrong. People love anime, but I rarely feel as though people don't show enough appreciation to the old school ones. And I
Um,
just feel as an initiative show more love it. Like honestly, I'm currently watching Fist of the North Star. I am currently watching anime, and that's 80s right there. That's a classic. You want to
that's
talk about some some sick death scenes?
yeah.
Like don't every time when they're going blow them up, I'm like they're like I feel fine. I'm like, oh, you're about to die in like 5 seconds,
Hmm.
and they end their heads just be like, ugh. Now, I know you said you like Inuyasha. Do you remember this from Inuyasha?
僕たちは生きるほどになくしてく少しずつ
Yes, bro.
People cannot forget about that answer. Like
That
when you just
was that was the song. But you know what? You know why I brought up Outlaw Star? Outlaw Star was one of my favorites, bro. And yeah, they don't play it anymore, but the ending credits for Outlaw Star. is where it's at. Like the set the it was like a part two ending
Yeah.
credits for All Star. But yeah, it's just one of the. I mean, see, anime does that though. Like they put a lot of efforts into their music.
Oh my! Like it's funny. It's like their out the intros would be all action, and then their outros just be all like slow and sad sometimes.
Bro, I'm telling you, if you could find it, maybe after this we could look it up. But the ending credits for Outlaw Star, the second version, that used
Oh,
to be like, after school, like it was like one of the
outlaw.
things where like it's very iconic when you was a child, like eating a bowl of cereal after school. Now, like I said, eating a bowl of cereal after school and watching Tsunami and watching like
Tsunami was just. Well, actually, no. Was it on adult? Was it on adults or was it on Tsunami? It
that was on Tsunami.
was on Tsunami. Okay,
Mhm.
I was thinking more of a yeah. That yeah, it was Tsunami. Yeah, because Yu Yu Hakusho was Tsunami was Adult Swim first.
Yeah,
Then it was later on Tsunami.
yeah,
Trying to look for it. You said it was the second ending.
yeah. It was the
We're,
part two version.
we're gonna have to look at this on the outside of this right there. We're
Yeah,
sorry guys. We're,
cool.
we're sorry
Yeah,
we can't look it up
so
right now.
we kind
But
of got to
no,
wrap it up.
yeah, but no, Anthony though. Like I appreciate you so much for being my first guest on this thing because I'm still learning this thing right now. But I said I've always wanted to do it because like I said I went to school for journalism, as people know, or if you didn't know that. I'm not gonna admit, I was not the best writer. Even when I write things, I'm just be like, God, what the hell did I write? But when it comes to talking, well, I can talk for hours upon hours upon hours. Like I won't shut up. I won't shut up. So I'm definitely using my speaking skills to the test right here. Plus, I got an A in speech communication. So yay me. So that's sure something right there.
Yeah, man.
I got.
That's awesome, dude. Like I said, like use what you got, bro. Like, you amazing at something, like stick with it. Like,
Mm,
these podcasts are always dope and like your insight on, like various things. Like I think like you
mm.
got a lot to bring to the table.
No, I truly appreciate that. I truly do. Now for my second interview, who knows when that will be? Like I said, I don't have a list of guests I have that say, okay, Friday, Saturday. So no, we're looking for more. So like I said, it's not going to be a consistent like each Wednesday or each third Tuesday. I'm going to upload an interview. No, like I said, they will come. Like I said, I'm gonna reach out to the people down to interview with me. Then we'll do it. So, but like I said, as I hopefully start growing, then hopefully that will be on a consistent basis with an interview on so on this day. But this is the start of many. And like I said, me and Anthony will definitely be back, whether it's discussing the Marvel topic or part two of our interview, because as I'm pretty sure there's still a lot that we can that we need to get into with this.
Yeah, man. And like,
Okay.
yeah, man, for anybody out there that's not following me on IG, my IG is Anarc VII. So that's ANARC VII. And then you can
Oh,
also, I got a website, www.anarcdesigns.com.
oh no, well, I will definitely have them in the link in the description box. So, like I
Cool.
said before, this interview will be up on YouTube. This interview will be up on Facebook. If you're not, if you don't listen, if you don't want to see the video, you want to listen to the audio, it will be on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, my Anchor. Will be on anywhere you have where you're listening on your podcast. So guys, everyone, thank you guys tuning in on my first ever guest on the Knuckles Curb right here. Well, it was between Knuckles Curb and Knuckles Sanctum. Regardless of both of them are sacred places, sacred safe places. So be there'll be a lot more guests come. Hopefully, if they say yes to my interviews, but why wouldn't that? I mean, I'm a nice, cool guy, and we're gonna have a nice conversation. Plus, with how I got Anthony stumbling on that last question, like.
Yeah, you got me on that.
He might rethink his answer. Who doesn't know? You might not know. He might rethink his answer. But we'll stick with Gene Star and Harley Quinn. We'll stick with that right there.
Stick with that.
Yeah. So folks, like thank you guys for tuning in so much. Tuning in. I appreciate that. We will get on the Moon Knight discussion soon. Like I said, this is the one time where it's tough to get everyone together for a Marvel discussion. But like I said, even if it's one episode, if worst comes to worst, we'll do a finale discussion on that at least because we can't not talk about it because like I said it's big. we've been doing the Marvel things for since the beginning. Like I said, Anthony was my number one with the Marvel thing. He was my number one guy when it came to uh WandaVision from so on to this day. So it's gonna happen. Like I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
it's gonna happen, but it's never gonna happen. That's all I can really say. For everyone, guys, y'all be safe out there. Like I said, be sure to follow Anthony on Instagram, and I'll post his website in the description box. Be sure to follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You can follow me on Twitch, where I stream every weekend. I'll be streaming this Saturday. I'll be streaming Mario Party Superstars. So, Anthony, if you're getting Mario Party Superstars, let me know. I'll get you on that as well. Or if you get Mario Kart, which I'll take years for that to happen. But if you ever get Mario Kart, please let me know. I'm sure Nicole will love to play that game too. Just
Cole
saying.
need to get it.
I'll pressure her into doing it right there.
There
So
you go.
everybody,
Pressure her when we down in Atlantic City.
what's up?
Pressure her when we in Atlantic City.
Oh, say no more. She's gonna freaking hate me after when I'm done. She's gonna hate me. So, hey, you told me to pressure her, so I have permission. Y'all heard it first. I have permission. So everyone, y'all have a good night. Y'all be safe. We'll see you guys in the next podcast, next video, next gaming video, next anything right there. So, check out Anthony's artwork. If not, we can't be friends. Take care, everybody.